Hello Runeterrans, my name is Sufis and in today's video I would like to cover all the possible champions that could be introduced in the second season of Arcane. Of course, there are some obvious ones that I will cover very quickly, but there are some other champions that were slightly teased by Riot Games and Fortiche. Some others are not so obvious, but I will try to make a connection to the lore and their story. Before we dive into the video, as you can see, this channel is quite small. If you like what you saw, a little like and subscribe could do wonders, so this channel could eventually grow towards 1000 subscribers. Okay, with the boring banter out of the way, let's dive into the possible champions for Arcane Season 2. The first character I shouldn't mention is Warwick. Exactly, skip. Warwick has been teased so many times. By Riot, it isn't even worth mentioning anymore. So next. The next character that we could see is not super obvious, but has a clear connection to many champions and possible events in the League universe. Drum roll, please. Blitzcrank! Oh wait, I teased him in the thumbnail. Well, anyway, Blitzcrank has a clear connection to Victor. In the middle of his studies, a major chem spill devastated entire districts of Zaun, and Victor returned home to help. These efforts included building an unintentionally sentient golem, whom Victor named Blitzcrank, and together they saved many from the disaster. The two parted ways after failing to prevent more deaths resulting from the radioactive aftermath, and Victor returned to Piltover. So Victor used the Hextech technology to empower Blitzcrank, but I think there is an interesting twist to it. Blitzcrank becomes sentient and self-aware. It's basically the artificial intelligence of the League universe. How that would be possible could be a little side story explained in Season 2. There is another story, and maybe that leads into the next champion, linked to Blitzcrank. Dispatched by Victor to clear a neighborhood of toxic chemicals, Blitzcrank traced the caustic runoff to its source, reasoning that the most efficient means to prevent further pollution was to eliminate the source of the pollution itself. Blitzcrank proceeded to destroy the factory where the toxic waste came from. And that factory could be the factory of... drumroll please! Renata Glask. With the destruction by Blitzcrank for one of her factories, the Chem Baron was furious on Victor. Maybe this Chem Baron could be Renata. And I think the chances are very, very highly likely. Renata is an important character in the future of Zaun, as is mentioned in her bio. Renata found herself with plentiful access to new and unique product designs and novel uses for the chemtech formula that was her parents' legacy. Profit soared. She then established Glask Industries after purchasing the first of what would be eventually dozens of factories to manufacture her high-end chemtech products. Glask Industries quickly expanded across Zaun, from chemtech mining operations to dance halls to refineries, angering some barons who held monopolies over the ventures. But one by one, Renata persuaded them all to go into business with her. And just like that, Renata quietly managed to become a Chem Baron in her own right, and no one could push back for fear of upsetting their own cash flow. While Glask Industries flourished, Renata herself remained in the shadows, waiting for the right time to make her next move. Maybe we will see the rise of Glask Industries throughout Season 2. If we talk about underground mining facilities, we can't ignore an important character that has been held hostage. It seems inevitable that Urgot, as known as the Dreadnought, will show up in Arcane at some point. Urgot is a Noxian headsman who took countless lives in the name of the expansionist empire. That same empire would ultimately betray him. However, Urgot was sent on a mission to Zaun, charged with eliminating a terrorist cell plotting against Noxus. By the time he realized that his mission was just an excuse to get him out of the way, a coup had been taken place back home, and Urgot was on the outs. He found himself at the mercy of the Chem Barons and was soon sent to the Dredge. And the Dredge is the infamous Chemtech prison mine located deep below Zaan. Eventually, Urgot overthrew the Chem Barons and blew up the prison cells in the underground mining facilities. This massive explosion could also be linked with the reason why Blitzcrank was created. Also, Vi and Caitlyn fought Urgot and his followers in the 2020 Warriors cinematic. And while this showdown might not play out on screen until future seasons, there's every chance Urgot will debut in Season 2. As we all know, Noxus has set foot in the city of Piltover, as we can see in Season 1. And if we look at the lore, Noxus makes a deal with the Chem Barons to create chem weapons to later use it in the war in Ionia. But that's a story for another day. So if Urgot was taken away from Noxus to prevent him from helping Borem Darkwill, chances are pretty high we could see Swain himself. Swain was a war general who fought in the Ionian War campaign. When he was almost killed by Aurelia, he got back to Noxus to overthrow Borem Darkwill and end the unwinnable campaigns led by him. One champion that keeps coming up as fans debate which characters make sense for Arcane Season 2 is, you guessed it, Camille, and with good reason. She is connected to a lot of illegal underground synthetic hex tech factories in the Undercity. Also known as the Steel Shadow, Camille belongs to Clan Pharaohs, a well-known Piltover family with a murky past. The clan's mansion base is located in Bluewind Court, but their business has long been conducted in the factories of the Undercity. There, hex crystals are synthetically produced. Camille is now the clan leader, and she takes care of her family business. See it as the mafia of Piltover. Doing deals with the underground city of Zaan, she replaced literally everything to enhance her body with augments. Even her heart is a hextech crystal. Her bladed legs and grapple-spinded hips became her most eye-catching additions. Camille's lore fits perfectly with everything happening on screen in Piltover, making her one of the most likely new characters of Arcane Season 2. And last but not least, a lot of fans were speculating on Oriana as the daughter of Singed. There were a ton of small details that only true fans noticed in the first season of Arcane, but one particular moment involving Singed came as a shock to League of Legends players, because it wasn't part of his lore. There are no children in his backstory, but that's not the case in Arcane. Singed revealed that he had a daughter once, and there was a shot of him looking at a picture of a girl in a locket. As one Twitter user pointed out with a side-by-side comparison, Singed's daughter looks a lot like Oriana, having almost the same haircut. Could this be a possible teaser for Oriana? I'm a bit skeptical because the lore of Oriana doesn't mention anything about Singed, and both her parents died, so let's see which characters will be in the second season of Arcane. While I'm super excited about these speculations, I'm not finished yet, and I want to cover a part 2 of possible characters we could see in Season 2 of Arcane. Some of them will be a bit of a long stretch, but hey, that's why we speculate, right? If you have interesting champions that could be given a shot in Arcane, let me know in the comment section down below. If you liked this video, a like and maybe a subscribe would help this channel's growth. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.